Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 straight wins at Talladega.
They're banging into each other at 190 miles an hour.
Here comes Jr. He's got to run. Kenseth tried to close him off.
It's going to be borderline, guys. It's going to be borderline.
Poor Matt Kenseth is getting pushed by everybody.
During the late stages of the 2003 EA Sports 500 Talladega, Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a bold move to the front. At one point, he dipped his left side tires below the double yellow line on the backstretch to advance his position. The yellow line rule was introduced in 2001 that prohibits drivers from improving their position by going below that line. If you go below that line, you will be penalized. However, NASCAR ruled that Dale Jr.'s move was legal, stating he was forced below the line and avoided any contact during the intense pack racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. would pick up the win and argue that he did nothing wrong, but many fans that don't like Dale Jr. still to this day say that should have been a penalty. NASCAR's explanation was officials determined their decision by saying circumstances of the move being forced rather than deliberate. The 2021 Roval race at Charlotte Motor Speedway delivered one of the most dramatic moments of the season, with Chase Elliott at the center of major controversy. During the race, Elliott's car was hit by Kevin Harvick's in retaliation for an ongoing feud, severely damaging Elliott's back bumper. Despite the damage flapping around in the wind and posing a potential safety hazard, NASCAR did what they did best, showing favoritism to Hendrick Motorsports and Chase Elliott, and not immediately black flagging Elliott for failing to pit and address the damage. As the race continued, Elliott's bumper cover eventually tore off and flew onto the racetrack, prompting a caution. NASCAR was able to throw that caution and Elliott was able to repair his car without any penalties. No black flag was handed down for Elliott at all. However, there have been multiple times in the sport's history where drivers have been black flagged for this exact situation.
Bumper flailing on the back of the 9 of Chase Elliott. That's because the bad blood from 3 weeks ago at Bristol has played out here at the Roval.
Create a caution. NASCAR also has the opportunity to look at this and black flag the 9. They have taken guys and made them come to pit road to clean it up. We'll just have to see what NASCAR thinks about the tail. I did ask. The tail is not required here. There is a question. You know, it's some high-speed track.
Now another Evernham team coming out to try and get him restarted and push him down pit road.
He stalled the car, but he may be out of fuel.
That's right, Wally. He's out of fuel. They were not planning on coming down, and apparently the fuel pressure bobbled. The crew got up on the wall, and then Casey spun out, coming to pit road. He asked if he could stop in Jeremy Mayfield's pit, but his crew chief told him that's not legal. Mayfield's crew trying to push him down here, as you see Jimmy Johnson.
The question is, how much track position do they lose? So Johnson was heading for...
With 5 laps to go in the 2006 Kansas playoff race, Casey Kane would run out of fuel entering pit road. His teammate of Elliott Sadler's pit crew had to actually push him to his pit stall under green flag conditions. Still to this day, I don't understand how this team did not get a penalty and how this was even illegal in NASCAR. Everybody knows the 2013 Richmond race with Clint Bowyer spinning on purpose. But do you remember the other controversy regarding that race? Well, you probably don't. Back in 2013, NASCAR had a rule: if you were second place, you could not beat first place to the start-finish line on a restart. Well, on the final restart of that race, Carl Edwards actually beat Paul Menard, who was currently first place, to the start-finish line. NASCAR said they reviewed the restart, but gave him no penalty. Back then, that would have been a penalty. They should have black flagged Carl Edwards and brought him down to pit road. Ultimately, nobody cared because everybody cared about Clint Bowyer spinning on purpose and blaming Dale Jr. Continuing off for Richmond, there was a late restart in the 2024 Richmond race that saw Denny Hamlin potentially jump the restart and ended up taking home the checkered flag. But when they restarted the race, Fox didn't even show the full restart with the leaders. The next shot you see is the leaders after the restart zone. It was ultimately shown after the race that Hamlin potentially jumped the restart.
In the restart box. Well, you see Martin chase him all the way down there with the side draft, trying to hold him at bay so he doesn't get clear.
Can you rein him up the racetrack a little bit? Still there, side by side. Still holding tough on the outside, Mark Truex Jr.
You know, I don't know. He jumped the start and then just used me up in turn 1, so definitely sucks, but you know, a good solid day and another car capable of winning. So we'll just have to come back next week, try to get him again.
Thanks, Martin.
Yeah.
This was Denny Hamlin's second win of the season, and he won in dramatic fashion. Right or wrong, Hamlin took home the checkered flag. Speaking of a mess, so was the 2020 Talladega Fall Race, just like we talked about at the beginning of the video. But now we're going to talk about the finish. You were not allowed to pass anybody below the yellow line. If you are forced below the yellow line, the penalty is then handed down by the person who forced you on the yellow line. I want you to watch this clip, and you can rewind it if you have to, but just look how many cars either went below the yellow line or pushed somebody below the yellow line. And no penalties were handed out at all.
The Wood brothers and Matt DiBenedetto out front at Talladega.
No organization right now. Look at this outside line. Oh, we got a car on the wall, the back straightaway. Cody Ware. Here comes the 17 and the 24. They're going to try to block.
Eric
in
gets
the
up into the wall. Now the 24, a big run. He slides. They make more contact. 3 wide as they come out of 4.
Hamlin to the inside. Side draft coming from the 24 car.
Denny Hamlin. William Byron through the tri-oval coming up to the stripe. And as they go across the stripe, a photo finish. Denny Hamlin gets the nod by 23 1/1000ths of a second.
No way.
Take another look.
We normally think about this yellow line being on the straight, but this is in the corner. He is on the apron of the racetrack.
I kind of have to see it from a different perspective to see if the 17 car gave him no choice.
But he still continues forward. Even though if the 17 gave him no choice, he still continues forward and passes these 2 cars.
I know that the precedent's been set today that they have been black flagging the car that's forcing, and nothing's happening to the other guy who's on the apron. So if the precedent has been set, you would say that Denny did the same thing that anyone else did that got forced below that line today.
He just benefited in this situation.
Start as long as he goes in between those 2 lines on the wall. Okay, he doesn't go. Now the green flag comes out. Now Brad Keselowski is legal to go, and the race has started, and that's why they've placed him as the leader here when this caution did come out.
Brings him down. He's a few inches ahead, and all of a sudden, here goes the 18. Now, did he jump too soon?
Well, it looks to me like he did, but I'd have to look at it and see on those hash marks on the wall, but it looked to me like he did go before the green flag came out.
NASCAR is taking a look at it. We'll let you know what they decide. It is.
Yeah, they are going to post the 18 car, and they're going to put his name or his number up on the board and put the black flag on it.
That's right.
Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski at Phoenix in the Nationwide Series were playing restart games all night. But the upper hand ended up going to Keselowski when Kyle Busch tried to mock what Brad Keselowski did the previous restart. Busch was handed down with a black flag immediately and brought down pit road and almost ended his race. Thankfully, Busch was able to drive up and still get a great finish, but he was extremely upset post-race at NASCAR's handle on this situation. He felt he was done dirty. Entering the tri-oval on the final lap, Tony Stewart pushed Regan Smith below the yellow line as Regan Smith drove past him and took the win. It took him a few moments for NASCAR to make their decision, but instead of following by their own rules, NASCAR penalized Regan Smith and not Tony Stewart, even though he pushed Smith below the line. Regan Smith was extremely upset as this would have been his first ever win in the NASCAR Cup Series. Smith's win was taken from him as Tony Stewart celebrated in victory lane.
Bobby Hamilton unable to clear top of 9 until just now.
Looks like he's got him cleared now. Look,
here comes Ricky Craven back on the outside.
Way on the outside.
Almost into the wall. They're dicing and dancing again as they cross the start finish. And Bobby Hamilton makes the pass. And problems right as they go across the start finish line. Another big crash as they go across the start finish line. And the white flag had come out as they cross the start finish line. That will mean, I believe, Bobby Hamilton will win the Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
Bobby Hamilton just riding behind Jimmy Spencer.
And we have to remember there are trucks that have come to a stop just inside of turn number 1. There was an accident that took place just as the pack was going by the start finish line. Checkered flag flies. We'll find out if it's Jimmy Spencer or Bobby Hamilton.
Wow, Bobby Hamilton was aggressive on that last lap, wasn't he?
Well, he sure was. He drove to the outside.
Ultra Motorsports celebrating.
I don't think we know the answer to this question yet, Rick.
Bobby Hamilton is just discussing what happened at the end of the race. Did you think he won?
Well, I mean, they got footage of it, and they're supposed to use the footage. I don't know on when the flag fell, but the light should have come on with the flag. And I was ahead of them when the light come on, because I looked in the mirror, I seen smoke. I was right down there at the end of pit road, the light come on, and I was a half a truck ahead of him. So that's where the timing line is. So I don't never say nothing. They're going to have to show me that one.
All right, Bobby Hamilton a little bit upset at the finish of this race.
All right, Jimmy Spencer's got to stay in the truck here as Red Dog Barnes' crew chief talks to him. Stand by for 1 second, because guess what? They're still reviewing video. I know this is crazy. It's not official yet, but let me tell you something. When they do announce it, if it's you, you're sitting in victory lane at Daytona.
I believe I won the race. I saw the accident happening behind me and stuff, and I did not appreciate what Bobby did to me. He turned me sideways like that, and but that's life. He was trying to win a race too, but it's going to be a long year, and he's got a tough son of a bee driving this Team ASE Dodge. He is be careful. He ain't messing with some punk.
When the yellow light comes on, Bobby Hamilton is in front of Jimmy Spencer.
I think that's the yellow lights right there, Michael. See if we can see him go on here. Bobby's definitely ahead of him. There's the yellow light coming. I'm telling you, to me, that would be irrefutable proof that Bobby Hamilton would win this race. On the last lap, they will use video or any means necessary to try to determine who wins the race.
He is getting the official word. Guess what? You're second today, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. That's hard to believe.
Unbelievable. This is just like Homestead whenever we didn't know for sure who the champion was at the end of 2003. They're going to fire up the Snap-on ASE Dodge, and they're going to back it up. Here goes Jimmy Spencer. The crew is back here, and everyone says, well, I can't believe it. That's just the word down here in Victory Lane. So Jimmy Spencer will leave, and I believe they'll push over Bobby Hamilton's 04 truck, and there'll be a very strange victory celebration here at Daytona.